Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there. You gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross, and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Position make you rich. I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter. Make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best interest.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we must stand together and be counted, because people look to us for guidance, leadership, and protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job. Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose. Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage. We are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
All right, welcome to another week of Manifestations 2020. As you guys can see, that the topic is chopping it up with the family. So I came in here, cozy as hell, like I'm in your living room on your sofa, chopping it up with y'all. Because we love y'all, man. And we're going closer and closer towards the end of the year. We just want to make sure that you guys are pretty much safe with your family. It's rough times out here. Holidays coming up. Pockets a little tight. But there's always room for conversation and dialogue. So we appreciate each and every one of y'all chopping it up with us each and every Sunday at 8. So much love to you guys out there. So
yeah,
Bobby Drake, what's up? Y'all down for the chopping it up tonight?
Always.
We here, man. We in the building, man. I'm trying to catch up, man. Like Anthony got the whole, Southern Comfort thing going with the blanket, and Bobby Drake over there looking like he posing for an R&B album cover. And like, I'm trying to find my niche over here. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a little lost, man. I don't know what my niche is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to find it. We gonna see what's up, man. Y'all doing it over there, though, man. I see you.
That's Drake. Drake over there with the taco meat. You know,
you see it, right?
With the 80s cocaine taco meat going on.
Bruh, I think he's gonna sing any minute. I'm like, yo, who is this guy?
It's a special day. I'm in my bag, so you know what it is. What it is. Don't worry about me, man.
Oh man. Okay. All right. That's how we doing it. Okay.
Hey,
what up, Janae? What up, Janae?
Janae, Mila, Renee. We got our sisters
Mila,
in the building.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to y'all.
We are nothing without our strong sisters, man. We are nothing without our strong sisters, man. So
Facts.
we appreciate y'all day in, day out, man.
Yes.
All right.
Beautiful thing.
So
man.
we got, as you guys know, is chopping it up with the family. Any questions or any topics you guys want to talk about, drop it in the comment section. So let's go. I don't want to hesitate no longer. Let's get it.
There's so much going on.
So much going on. But I did want to play this video real quick of it's a couple of videos, but we'll just go by it one by one because it's a lot to chop up. But the popping the balloon, I saw a couple of things that needed to be addressed. So let's get into the first video and let's address that right now. All right.
Michael, I'm 32, and I have my own clothing brand called Forced to be King and Forced to be Queen. Come from a company called The Royal Family. The reason why I popped is because you said that a man needs to listen. I understand if a man's falling off because you said as a man leading. So if I'm a man and I'm leading, how you going to tell me how to lead and which direction I need to lead in if I'm a man?
What you think about that? I think that we're humans first. I'm an adult. I have my own mind. I have my own things going on. There's things that I may need your help with, but you don't own me or run me. I'm still myself. I'm not your wife. So in the instance of me saying, hey, I might not know how to seek this out or how to get it completed, you might have better resources than I do. You might know more people in those fields that I don't. And you might have knowledge that I haven't attained yet because ignorance is just literally me not knowing. So if you don't know what it is that I do not know by listening, how do you know how to help me?
And I understand that. I was just, with you saying it like that, it's better. Damn, okay, let me finish saying what I got to say. Fuck my shit up. Okay, but now, with the way that you just said it, it came off different because it was like as you telling a man, I'm gonna tell you.
All right, so that's I know it was a little chopped up there.
Yeah, it's very choppy.
It might have been the connection because I am up here in Tampa in the woods, so it's a little choppy. But what happens is, she was saying, like, he was asking about, explain a little bit more about what she mean by the direction and everything like that, and then she started saying like, I don't want a guy to control me, and I thought that was very telltale. That a lot of times when women hear a guy talking about leadership and leading a woman, there's women that don't understand it and they take it in another direction as a part of you controlling me, and or I don't have my own mind to think about something. That's not what leadership is from a man to a woman. It's all about protection in various forms of protection. And you shouldn't be with a man that you don't trust like that. You know, if you want to try to run the ship by yourself, it's going to be very hard for you to line up with a man like that, because you have to, if you are a woman that said that you want a man of God, that man has to receive his covenant from the Lord. He's connected with the Lord. And when he got connected with the Lord, at that moment, he brings protection over his wife and his children. But a lot of times women want to skip certain phases and stages of that and want to do their own thing. And that's why we have a lot of unbalanced relationship and people out here, because you're not going in the divine order. And I thought that was, to me, it kind of threw me off a bit when she said that, but I know a lot of women think like that. So I just wanted you guys' opinion on basically what she stated and what the dialogue was between the two.
I'll say it. I mean, because a lot of people don't want to hear this. But they're both right in a sense. I didn't hear exactly what she said because the audio was very choppy. It's kind of difficult to pick up exactly what she said or the way within which she said it. A lot of times that really matters. I think that a lot of times when men and women are talking about dating and relationships, we're not talking to each other. We're talking at each other, you know, and the way that I took it is the brother felt as though she was, in her saying that she wants a man to listen, it wasn't like, you know, I want a man who will listen to me. It was more like, a nigga better listen to me. That's what it came off that he heard from her. Maybe that's not what she meant to say. You understand? But those are two very different things. Even though sometimes a woman may be trying to communicate the same message, I think it is important that men listen to women. Very much so, for the reason that she said, and for other reasons. I mean, you're not going to understand someone if you don't listen to them. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that as much as brothers may want to issue some corrective game, you may also want to, again, listen. You know, you should always listen to understand, not listen to respond. That goes for the men as well. You understand? So she may have been saying that in a perfectly innocent way. I would have asked for clarification before I just popped the balloon and been like, okay, you need to get on your way. You know, because from what I could hear of the clip, the sister had a very solid point. You know, then again, there are other sisters that just don't want to listen for the sake of being rebellious. Correct. You understand what I'm saying? That's some other shit. And that is the shit that we need to be checking. So before we start checking, though, we want to make sure that we need to be checking something. You feel me? Because it's not always about that. You know, Jason Black even talks about this. Of all people, as harsh as Jason Black is, he talks about how black men and black women need to be more patient with each other when it comes to dating and relationships, because we're both traumatized to a certain extent. We are both not okay to a certain extent, not individually, but as a group. So, you know, even with my wife to this day, you know, sometimes she'll say something and, you know, I know who she is. So it may sound away. I'm like, hey, well, what do you mean by that, little buddy? You know what I'm saying? We'll talk about it or whatever the case may be. And, you know, sometimes she'll be like, oh, you know, I didn't mean to come off like that. And I know she didn't. And I think we all need to get to that point where we kind of give each other the benefit of the doubt before we just, the men and the women, because I think that a lot of time we're saying the same thing and we're not allowing each other to make our points before we pop off, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'll park the Chevy. It didn't sound like a particularly bad exchange or something that they couldn't get past if they gave each other an opportunity to understand each other.
True. He popped the balloon, and then when she explained it, he said, you know, that's not how the way you're explaining it now was better than how you initially say it.
Right.
And I think sometimes women, or I wouldn't just say women, but just sometimes people aren't really good at explaining themselves or initially posting things until you get into in-depth conversation. But I'll land my plane on that. Go ahead, Bob.
So let me go ahead and pop the door on this Aston Martin right quick. I rented it for the evening. So let's take this cruise. You were hitting a lot of the points that I was going to touch on, Major. So big props to that. You know, great minds don't always see eye to eye all the time, but oftentimes they do intersect with one another.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I definitely agree that I think that they were both, for the most part, equally on point and also equally off as well. And I think a lot of it came down to just simply communications, the breakdown in communication. And I definitely feel like he jumped out the window too soon with the pop and the balloon. Now, keep in mind, this whole pop the balloon type thing. This show has never been exactly known for bringing the best and brightest we have to offer on the same stage. With that being said, and no shade to any of the participants either, but with that being said, I definitely feel like this was a moment where I don't know if the two of them would have been compatible or not, but it seems as though that reason could have won the day here if the brother would have just simply taken a second to, funny enough, actually take into account what the sister said in the first place and listen. And not just listen, but use active listening skills. She said something that sounded off a little bit. And when she had an opportunity, or rather when she took the opportunity to elaborate a little bit and to kind of get more in the weeds, he realized, oh, okay, this sounds a bit more like what I'm on the same wavelength with here. But if you just pop the balloon out front, how are you going to have a chance to really dig deeper and get to the heart of the matter? Another point that you mentioned that I want to reemphasize on that, Mage, we too often find ourselves communicating, and this is why it's so important to do the damn work. We find ourselves too often communicating, both speaking through and listening through our traumas and our negative experiences, that we not only don't hear what's being said or don't speak what we want to say properly, but too often we're coloring in what we're hearing and what we're saying with our negative experiences. And that comes across. You can pick up on that. Perfect example was there was I think it might have actually been, so it wasn't one of these videos. It was a video from Paternity Court or what have you, where this brother expressed himself in a very healthy manner. He basically laid down his boundaries and refused to allow the woman to come back across it. And I made a simple point because one of those mass graveyard toxic biochem waste lab Kevin Samuels groups, and it was one of the few posts I've seen probably in months that was actually halfway solid. I think one of the persons who posted was a halfway solid person, which is why it wasn't all chaotic. And I just simply said, men command respect. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to be forceful with it. You just need to be sincere and firm. That's all. And the way he said it, it was a clip of, what's his name? Nelly on Dancing with the Stars. And one of his counterparts, his dancing partner, was all excited because I guess they did very well. So, she hugged him big time. He's like, okay, yeah, that's nice. And she went and did it again. And you can see him, he's like, stop. And she immediately kind of, gathered her composure with her because he's checking her, setting that boundary. Look, I'm a married man, my whole father. Yeah. Cool out, relax. You're doing too much, shorty. Kanye, relax. And I was like, he didn't have to get mad. He didn't have to, walk off or make a big fuss. He just simply said, stop. Let the grace to just stop. And he said it intentionally. The way he said it, it wasn't anything like it was trauma. It was like, stop, you will get me in trouble. Like he's afraid. And it wasn't like, hey, yo, bitch, stop right now. What you think? Nothing crazy, just regular, balanced, even keel. Stop. But he did that because he was communicating clearly, effectively, not through his trauma or his negative experiences, just straight up. And I think you'll find that if we do that more often, we'll have better outcomes with each other, male and female alike. Too often, I see men and women saying very real things, but the way they do it is so hostile or so negative or passive aggressive. It's like, damn, I got to cut through all this BS just to get to what you're saying. It ain't even worth it.
Right.
The conversation isn't worth the squeeze. I've had conversations that literally went on much longer than they should have, simply because it was so refreshing to hear this type of dialogue from this person, male or female. That's like, you know what? This is a subject that could really be contentious, cantankerous, but because we're both doing such a masterful job of communicating with maturity, respect, we're trying to listen. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to indulge this. I got things to do. I'll make 5 minutes just so we can have this conversation because it's refreshing. And that's what our interactions are supposed to do. But again, if you can't be mature, if you can't communicate effectively, if you can't look for clarity first before you just bring out the battle axe, you can't get to any of that. So I like that after the balloons pop, they were able to kind of get a little bit deeper and kind of understand each other better. I wish they could have done it before the balloon was popped. Who knows? That might have been a successful connection. But an excellent object lesson for how to communicate effectively with emotional intelligence. And again, with seeking to get to the heart of the matter, not just to, X, Y, Z. And again, this might not be the best format given the nature of the show, but it would have been really great if we could have seen that in this particular clip.
I totally agree. And I'm glad you said about communication, because my next video, it pretty much segues into that way. And here we go.
So from Saturday,
it wasn't any.
Okay.
So it was like, nah, if you can't communicate, it's kind of pointless.
Stand on business. Got it. And so you said you did receive the message and you thought you texted him back, but it just didn't go through, or?
I'm just on the way out the door, didn't press send, like rushing.
No, on Saturday when he sent another.
Yeah, I forgot to respond and had the whole text typed and then sent him an audio message like, hey Siri, send so-and-so a message.
Okay.
And then I open it because I'm like, oh, he didn't respond. It's like 1:05, I'm on the way. And then I look and then I'm like, okay, I didn't send it. The whole message is typed out, but then everything's getting red. So he's sitting there like watching me say, and I understand what he's saying, like, okay, you didn't confirm, I'm not going to go. That makes sense. Like, I'll give that to you. But I thought it was just silly to leave me on red. You could have just texted me back and been like, oh, girl, I'm not coming. Like, you didn't confirm. I thought that could have just been the respectable thing.
Okay.
Because I thought that was weird that you didn't respond, but you're telling people that I ghosted you in Phoenix. But you didn't respond to the last text. So that's kind of weird.
Hold frame. You responded a whole day later. So do you really call that responding?
It was less than 24 hours. This is your thing. I think you're very picky about times. That was one of the things. You've been very particular and picky about time, few instances that we had.
I didn't go over this already, but this brother is a serial entrepreneur and extremely successful.
Age and the answer to your question?
Ramon, and I'm 36. I own an auto detailing business. I do Airbnb, and I own a fleet rental company.
This man can only operate on good timing because his business literally depends on it. Women like this will want high value or high sought after men, but they overestimate what they can bring to this man. High value men or entrepreneurs view respecting their time as a show of respect, but instead being profoundly sorry due to your blunder, you then shift accountability.
Okay. Just like we had known each other 72 hours, and then remember that phone call we had?
Which one? Go ahead and let everybody else know.
Yeah, we only had one phone call.
Okay.
What happened? One. I could grab the call.
But it was a few times that I called.
That is inaccurate. You gaslit me on the phone about that.
It was a few times that I called.
I'll go get the phone. I got the screenshots.
And I got the text messages.
Yeah, we have all the information. So do you want to hash it out?
I mean, if we have to.
I just thought it was weird. Okay, so let's run it back so we could clarify for the audience and for you as well.
Yeah, please.
There had been a phone call, right? Roughly 72 hours. So from the very jump, it was hard to confirm the date of the date from the beginning because you kept saying, I'll let you know tomorrow. Then tomorrow came, and then you let me know tomorrow.
But then once Thursday came, I told you I had reservations, and it was set.
Absolutely.
Sunday, 1 o'clock, Global Ambassador.
Okay, but that's not the phone call I'm talking about.
But Thursday, it was set, though. You're talking about from when we did the show originally all the way up until Thursday. We went back and forth, kind of trying to figure out about the date or whatever. But Thursday came, and it was set 1 o'clock. I told you I had the reservation.
That's not what I'm talking about. We went back and forth, and why I think you're picky.
Okay, let's hear about the call.
We just don't get along. I think that's what it really comes down to.
You're combative.
But the call was that you had called me roughly, I believe, on Monday, and I didn't answer. You called me around 10 o'clock on Monday. We'd known
10
each other.
p.m.?
Yes,
Okay.
10 p.m. We'd known each other roughly 72 hours. Then we talked the next day. And on the phone, you had told me, well, since you didn't answer my phone call, I didn't know if we were going on the date or not. Like, you're acting like you're my dad or something. Like, I don't
recall that.
Of course you don't.
But I do recall the phone call about, 10 o'clock, but you told me you was free in the evening. So that's why I called that late.
But I didn't say like I just thought it was so picky the way that you were on my phone telling me. I felt like it was entitled, to be honest with you, for you to call my phone and talk about when I'm not answering, when I'm answering, and I'd known you for 3 days. I just thought that was rude.
But you still set the date.
Yes, because that was the objective of the show.
But we should have not have went on the date if you felt
And
that
thank
way.
God.
Why schedule the date?
On this fine Sunday, thank God that we didn't go on the date, because I just feel like this was the energy on the
I
phone.
saved my money.
Right.
So you felt like he was coming at your
Thank
throat?
God.
The same way that it's like this energy, it was very back and forth and very petty on the phone. And he's getting snippy on the phone. And I'm like, okay, so are we going to go on the date? That was my response is, okay, so are we going to do it? Are we going to do it? And I do feel like, yes, you're a little snippy. And I didn't appreciate it. But the objective of the show was to go on the date. And it just made me feel a little opportunistic of your objectives, because prior to that, if you want to talk about everything, prior to that, you had sat here and asked me to model for your company. I thought that was rude.
You said you was a content creator.
I didn't say I was a model and that I was going to come model.
But if I'm
Those aren't
trying to
the
put
same.
money in your pocket, what's wrong with that?
You didn't mention
I
a
wasn't
thing
trying
about-
to do anything for free, sweetheart.
I find it so interesting, and please, I'd love to hear from any behavioral psychologists that watch this content. Someone who calls someone else exactly what they're doing, they're projecting, to call him snippy, but you are ridiculously confrontational is hilarious. They can't take the energy that they give out, but I would argue that he's not being snippy and demonstrating that in front of Arlette, but what you're demonstrating is being very combative and very controlling, but it's a damn shame because you can't get out of your way enough to humble yourself. But this piece about modeling is interesting. Let's keep listening.
But
you said you was a content creator. Like, I'm confused. If
So
that's
when
what
was
you
this
are,
asked? When did you
it
ask?
was, damn near at the
Maybe
beginning.
Sunday.
At the beginning.
Right
But
away.
She said she was a content creator.
So we filmed Saturday, and then you asked her Sunday if she wanted to model for your
Sunday,
business.
Monday, it was pretty early.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, it just really gives like you're opportunistic. Like, that's what it gives.
It gives.
I just feel like 3 strikes you're out. For you, it was just a couple weird interactions. Yeah, you asked me to model. You didn't mention anything about money for you to say.
I did tell you that over the phone that I
later,
had no problem
but
paying you.
upon, may I finish speaking?
Go ahead.
Since you wanted to like overtalk me. Is that okay with you?
Yeah. It's so crazy.
I'm just waiting for my turn to talk.
All right, go ahead, and then we'll let you go right after
I
her.
didn't ever say that I was a model, and then what did I say when you asked me if I wanted to model? I was like, oh, do you want to do a content exchange? Like, you detail my car and I make a video about it? You're sending me screenshots talking about this is what I want. And you did not mention anything about payment upon the initial interaction of asking me to model. So no, I don't work for free, and that's how it came across initially. That's okay for me to say. You didn't mention anything about payment till multiple days later when I was like, hey, that rubbed me the wrong way. And you're like, well, you should have said something. Well, I don't know you, and I don't feel comfortable to sit here and go back and forth with you knowing you 2 days. That's crazy.
Look at looking up in the air. Ridiculous.
I ain't got nothing to say.
Oh.
Great answer.
I'm good.
Great
I ain't
answer.
gonna do the back and forth.
Okay.
Like I said, I offered her an opportunity.
Good job.
I didn't think that, I had to initiate that, yeah, I'm gonna pay you. In my eyes, it was kind of obvious.
That it was a given.
Yeah, like if you're a content creator, I don't ask anybody to do anything for free for me. Nothing. So
give this brother a round of applause. The absolute best answer in this situation. She wants to go back and forth because that's what she's good at. Women like this gain energy from drama, from toxicity and arguing, but that wears down men, masculine men, to the very core. It's also crazy that this woman has had literally all of the talking time, but passive aggressively asked him if she may continue. This is the behavior of a woman who has rarely gotten checked by a man because of the aestheticness.
I agree.
Oh God, that was painful. Please, you don't have to play the whole clip the next time you got some bird that's talking like that. Jesus Christ.
I wanted to play it because
we got context.
There were so many phases of her bad behavior. It was different in different dialogues. You could see different extensions of her bad behavior, and I wanted to play it because one thing that I notice is that women always request men that have emotional intelligence. And
That's
the
how
thing
we
about it is, and I've told people this before, there are so many women out there that don't have emotional intelligence that when they come across a guy that has emotional intelligence, they oftentimes become the toxic one as being deflective because they can't handle an emotionally intelligent guy. That's why I say don't ask for something, because more than likely, if you don't know about it in details, you are not going to be able to handle it. So it's a reflection on that. So I just wanted to show how emotionally intelligent this brother was and his calmness and coolness throughout the whole time. And I wanted to show that men, you don't have to go back and forth with women. You know, you see the energy being foul, you like, all right, and you know your worth. He said, no, I don't have nothing else to say. I said everything, I proved everything. And you guys pretty much basically saying you guys out there watching pretty much can see what type of woman this is.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? And I'll land my plane on that.
Dude, my head almost exploded listening to this woman talk. I've met so many women like that. And what they'll do, this is a tactic. You know, what they'll do is they'll take everything that you do that is mature and they'll make it seem like it's a flaw. You know, they'll make it seem like it's a flaw, like it's you doing something that you're not supposed to do. The guy is doing what he's supposed to do. What do women say all the time? They want a guy who's going to lead, right?
Yeah.
Part of leadership is setting dates.
Yeah.
Part of leadership is initiating contact. Part of leadership is, you know, making definitive decisions. All of these things this brother did, and every one of those things, she tried to make it seem like it was a negative. This woman was full of shit from when she started talking. You know, when you start talking to someone and, you know, they start bitching and moaning about how you're picky, and all you did was just state, you know, how you prefer things to be. You know, you prefer someone to be on time. You prefer someone to return phone calls. I have a pet peeve about this. You know how many women I've dumped and just lost interest in instantly because they couldn't return simple phone calls and text? You understand? This is a thing with a lot of women that they do. Not to say that men don't do it as well. You understand what I'm saying? But I've only dated women. I can't really speak on, you know, how much, you know, men do that. I'm sure, you know, there are men that do it as well. But I see that women have made an issue. I've been there, an issue of this, where they don't return simple phone calls. They don't return simple texts. And when they don't do it, somehow it's your fault. You understand what I'm saying? That's just childish. It's just childish nonsense. And, you know, she's not a bad looking sister. Very light skinned. Am I going to get started on that today? Am I going to have to get into that today? Because I'm going to just keep it a buck. You know, I don't really care one way or the other. But, you know, I think it's something that has to be said. No, this is not something that happens with everybody, but a lot of light-skinned women, you know, they got the memo. You know, they got the memo that, you know, that a lot of brothers choose up on them more so than darker sisters. In fact, I know several dudes who will date an ugly light-skinned chick over a beautiful dark-skinned sister. And they'll say it. They're like, if she red, what the Lil Wayne, well, how's the lyric go? Take a black chick, bet that bitch look better red, some shit like that. Isn't that what Lil Wayne says? Didn't Kodak Black say something similar? Unfortunately, a lot of light-skinned women out here got their head up their ass because they are lighter and therefore closer to white. I'ma say it for all the coons that may be listening. You dig? And so they feel like they can just treat anybody any old kind of way because the sun rises and sets at their ass cheeks. Let them tell it because they got so many niggas on their dick. You dig? And it's like, bruh, that just ain't it. I get those type of vibes from this particular girl. I don't know. I'm just making inferences based on past experiences. You understand what I'm saying? It's unfortunate, but a lot of women are like that, you know. And then you add to the fact that, you know, you're not a bad looking sister and you light skin. Whoo, boy, you got a problem on your hands sometimes. Some of these women heads so big they can barely get through the door, you know. So I feel like even before you start talking to her, a lot of these, not her in particular, but her type. This is why vetting is so important. You got to understand what you're dealing with before you even start talking to a woman like that. Shit like that, I would have picked that shit out the first 15 minutes of conversation. I'm not, you got to go. You understand? Because she's oozing with contempt. Everything about this woman is, she's not pleasant. She wasn't pleasant from when she sat down. She's oozing with contempt. She looks like she's looking for some shit to say that's negative that will affect your interaction with her. You understand? There was nothing that this guy could do right. Oh, you too picky. Oh, you trying to be like my father because he wants you to answer your phone calls. You sound like what did the Jamaicans say? Like a ignorant Haas. That's how you sound. Just ignorant. Just what is your problem, dude? Really? So yeah, man, it's unfortunate, but we have these type of childish people out here in the dating pool. And I would have checked her a lot sooner than that. She would have never got past the first 15 minutes of conversation with me because I got that nice with it. Fellas, when you're nice with your vetting skills, you pick this shit out. It don't matter how good she look. It don't matter how jazzy she dressed. When she start talking stupid, you pick up them cues like this. I say everybody really need to get their vetting skills up so you can pick out roaches like this from the decent females that are out there in the dating pool. I'll park the Chevy.
I think one of the biggest things that people, especially women, say a lot is that they'll see a guy like this and she's not a bad looking woman. She probably might be a top tier woman as far as looks wise for a lot of people, just like you said with the added red bone, right?
Yeah.
But when a guy like that of that caliber ends up with a woman that most people will look and say, why is he with her? She's really not that attractive. Then they start to sit back and say, oh, the hoes are winning, or the women that they don't think should be qualified for that guy is the one that got him. And it's not fair because they feel like they're supposed to get a guy like that. So when you see those type of women that get mad at that, y'all have to realize how many other women that are beautiful like you that have basically been so toxic, haven't been able to work on themselves, that a lot of guys are disdained away from pretty women. I know a lot of guys that don't really like pretty women like that, to actually, they'll fuck them, but they won't engage in long-term with pretty women. They'll rather get with the all-around woman, even if it's a little below the attractiveness of what he likes, because she brings a more complete foundation to the table that he likes, versus this headache, because that's what a lot of pretty women bring, is a lot of headache and non-peace.
That's true.
So you have that dynamic of it. So I just wanted people to see, I picked this video to kind of show you that sometimes women, y'all fumble guys because you guys don't hold yourself accountable. You're not trying to make yourself a better woman. You are having this mentality that I see a lot of women say is, if a guy can't take me like I am, then he don't need to be with me. Or if a guy can't handle me, he's not real enough for a woman like me. No, that's not what it is. A man does not want to deal with any headaches or liabilities, and liabilities are headaches. You know what I'm saying? They want to deal with a woman that brings peace, and peace is assets, and assets is investments. So that's why a lot of guys choose that route. And I'll land my plane on that and let you cook, Bobby.
I know this little girl, her name is Maxine. Beauty's like a bunch of roses. If I ever tell you about Maxine, you're gonna say, I don't know what I know, but look, man. Pretty face and bad character. Right there. Big up Shaka Demus implies pretty face, bad character. You know, this right here is just plain and simply a clash of everything.
Yeah.
Everything. This was a head-on collision on I-95 right there. The first issue we have, that's really where all this got started from to begin with, is a complete clash of values. And like you mentioned, this man isn't just an entrepreneur, he's a serial entrepreneur. He owns and runs several different businesses, and they are businesses that, for the most part, from what I can tell, aren't at an advanced level where he has like a large workforce. It's not like he's running corporations or whatever, but the small scale businesses, which means, and anyone who's done anything with business, period, at any scale, you understand that typically the smaller the businesses, the more hands-on you have to be. My boy just launched a restaurant the other day. He had a soft opening on Friday. Grand opening was on Saturday. And I told him, you know, of course I'm going to be there. I'm going to pull up and support. A whole bunch of the crew went by to support him. And sure enough, I walk in and my man's is right there, right on the register, taking orders and ringing stuff up right then and there.
Yeah.
He's in the back checking on the food, make sure the food's coming out right and everything. He's doing a little bit of everything. He's got some staff working there, but for the most part, he's there in the trenches.
Facts.
It's a small scale business. He doesn't have the luxury of, you know, being up in his office somewhere doing other things, and he has a secretary reporting, or he has a general manager doing this and that for him, whatever. He's got to be there on the ground floor. Same thing with him. So especially for him, time is a premium. Time is the valuable currency. Shout out to who's that? Elaine mentioning earlier, Elaine Moran in the chat, talking about how time is a valuable resource. It's the only thing that once it's lost or spent, however it's used, you don't get it back. There's no bounce back from that.
Yeah.
So therefore, someone who is disciplined, someone who is intentional about the time, someone who is very, very scarce when it comes to time, they're very time poor, I should say. They ain't got it like that. Some people ain't got dollars until payday. They ain't got time like that. So that means that he has to really act out a set schedule to date and to entertain, even being on that show and doing the follow-up episode right there. That's time that he had to take into consideration and carve out just to do. He doesn't have time to waste and spend foolishly like that. So if he's out here dropping times, hey, so we're going to do this at such and such a time, I'll meet you there, whatever. That's the time he's got. He might only have a little 60-minute, 90-minute window for you, and then the rest of the day is booked up. So if it don't pop off right then and there, that's all well and good, you know, because things happen, I'm sure. But if it's just a case of failure to communicate, my man ain't going to be having no time or space for that. She, on the other hand, appears to be very much a free spirit, where she has no structure, no order. It's just very laissez-faire. Whatever happens, happens. And by default, that's going to be an issue, no matter what happened. It wouldn't matter how sweet she is, how kind, even if she had a wonderful personality. Just that alone would guarantee that there was going to be all kind of friction between the two of them, at least on his side and not on her side. Then, on top of that, she completely has no integrity and has an utter void of accountability. So, you know, he's responding, trying to find out what's going on. I see you're not responding. Okay, cool. I'm not even going to get into that with you. Granted, maybe he could have done some extra reaching out to kind of get some clarity. I'll give her that. But given his circumstance, and unfortunately, given the way the dating pool is out here to a large regard, I'm pretty sure he's seen this movie, unfortunately, several times. I'm pretty sure this was, I'm pretty sure this was Fast and Furious 15. There's only so many times you're going to see cars and drag racing and hear Vin Diesel talk about family before you kind of start to get the gist. So could he maybe have prejudged her a little bit? Possibly. Would his prejudgments have been correct? Absolutely. So once you see the movie, it's like, you know what, I can kind of connect the dots. I don't gotta watch you all the way from the beginning of the reel to the end of the reel to figure out the plot. I know the plot. The names will change, the dates will change, but for the most part, seeing this movie.
Yep.
So at that point, that's what it seems like. He kind of fell back a little bit, like, okay, let's just watch the play. Hey, watch this. 12 hours ain't said nothing. 18 hours ain't said nothing. Oh, now she want to say something. Okay. And I've seen that, been there, done that. I think just about every single brother has at some point in time experienced that, probably more than twice. It's out there. And then on top of that, we see when here, they're meeting face to face, they can communicate like adults. You see that she's just putting deflections. You see the sign language, the shaming tactics, the insults, the guilt tripping, the need to be right. You just see it on display. Like you pointed out, Major, nothing he could do was right. There was always a counter. Yeah, but.
Right.
I understand that, but see, here you go. It's always a problem because she refuses to be the person who has to say, you know what? Damn, my bad. I should have done this, that, and the third. And you can definitely tell it. There was a point. I can't mention the exact second, but there was definitely a point where you could feel it, where it became painfully clear. And you can look in the host's eyes too. That's where you really saw it, where it became abundantly clear that the greater share of why this fell apart rest in her lap. It's almost indisputable. And at that point, she didn't even care anymore. It was just it was a fire sale. Everything must go. I'm going down. Damn it, you coming down with me too. We're gonna find some way to also make this your fault. Yeah, I'm to blame. We're gonna make sure you get some blame on you too. You're gonna be leaving here with some dirt on your white shirt as well. Horrible character. Thank God this fell apart. And this didn't go too far. And thank God he also had enough self-worth and intelligence to recognize that this isn't something to pursue, because there are sadly some dudes out here that would have seen this and would have still been trying to prove to her, try to overcompensate. No, I'm sorry. Can we do it over again? I'll be more this, I'll be more patient. But nah. 2024 is not the year of the doormat. Dead. So he stood on business. He said enough, handled it in a very mature, very masculine fashion. He said enough to get his point across. And once the case was made, I got nothing else to say. As the beloved master teacher, Dr. John Henry Clark said, and these are words I've tried to live my life by as often as possible. I only debate my equals. I'm only going back and forth with the people that I'm here to. Same height, same height. I only debate my equals. All others I teach.
Facts.
So if it looks like I'm going back and forth with somebody that is not at my level, it's not a debate. I'm using them as an object lesson. You've become a teaching tool. You are my blackboard. And I'm putting shot dust all up and down your face, all up and down your nose. We gonna use you as a case-by-case study of how not to proceed. Plain and simple. And he did that masterfully.
Definitely.
Go ahead and pull up and get some gas in this Martin. These V12s, these V12 gas guzzlers, man. Ooh.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think he did a phenomenal job at that. And just to show men that, your time is valuable, and be on point, and also know your worth. And fella knows his worth. He makes good money. And that's why he told her, he said, you did me a favor. I saved my money. So
there you go. Let me just before you move on to the next topic, shout out to my dog Alan. I think you said it was Elaine. That's my dog Alan. We go back to North Miami Senior, so and North Miami Middle School. So shout out my dog Alan. Yeah. But let me just put this out there. Let's do this, guys. Let's stop having this fear of loss when it comes to women. Where you feel like you ain't gonna get the ass, or yo, so you gotta put up with all this bullshit because you ain't gonna get access to her. Man, beautiful women are plentiful out here like water and air. You understand? They're all over the place. You understand? And not that a woman can't be special, but if she is special, all this bullshit ain't gonna come with it.
And I will
Let her
say
just
this.
go on away. Go ahead.
I would add on to this. Fellas, sometimes walking away is actually more of a strong point in the long run for your favor. And the reason why I say that is because I've walked away from women off rip, didn't take no losses. And even if I did go out on a date and I took a loss, I walked away because I already know who I was and I wasn't going to entertain bull crap. And I deserved to be, treated better than what was presented. And let me tell you something. When you apply yourself as a man and they know you apply yourself as a man, they know that you coming with good quality and they see it, you walk away in their head in their head, they fumbled you. They might not say that right then and there, but let them go out there and mingle with other men and they see that the other men that they mingle with ain't up to par with you. So when they see you again, man, they at you heavy. They at you super heavy. I've had women come at me so hard on what they call it, circling the block. When they came around circling the block the second time, oh my gosh, the heat was so heavy from them. I mean, it was to the point where they basically was like, hey, what are you doing? Like, let's link up on some real shit type shit. You know what I'm saying? So fellas, sometimes just standing on business initially, letting people know your respect, being respectful in the process of it, in the long run, it will benefit you. I promise you. Even if you don't want to talk to that woman, you'll still see how much she will throw herself at you because she start to realize that the quality of men don't equate to half of who you are. All right. So I just wanted to say that part. Great segue into men stepping up, understanding, and like Major was saying about vetting. I think this video right here will show you guys the vetting process and knowing how to vet and being like Major was saying, once you learn how to vet, you save yourself a lot of heartache and trouble. All right, so we'll get into this video real quick.
God.
Who was God to you?
The Lord. I know.
Who, like Jesus? Like, what's his name?
Jesus.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. And do you have children?
Sorry,
do you have children?
No, I don't have any kids.
Oh, okay. That was really it.
That's it? Okay. And we did get a pop back there. Let's go see why he ended up popping. So why did we end up popping our balloon?
Once again, beautiful lady. But like last time, just the tattoos. I come from a very conservative family. And then also his question when he asked her who was God, I just felt like she didn't really have an answer. And faith is very important to me, so that's pretty much it.
Okay.
But she's beautiful. Yeah.
All right, got it. Okay. So, actually, let me bring you up here instead of us walking back and forth. I'll have you scoot that way, and I'll have you stand on this side of me. Any final questions between the two of you to determine if this is a match?
So, like, what is something that you believe your role is as a wife? Do you believe in getting married?
Yes, I do want to get married. I'm dating to marry.
All right, and then what is it that you believe in as far as like how's your walk with Jesus? That's what I'd like to know.
I'm still working on it. I just now started getting closer to him again because I did like fall off a little bit when I joined the military. But I've been doing Bible study with my friends like once a week. I go to church. I watch sermons on YouTube. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Right, so Buddy popped. And one thing I hope people picked up is when she said something, because I like to listen. And that's why I tell guys all the time, sometimes don't be so quick to just say something. Let these women talk, because let me tell you something. Women allow men to talk. That's why you always hear women say, you done talk yourself out some pussy or some shit like that, right? It's because they let you talk and they analyze and they're starting to see that a lot of what you're saying doesn't make sense. It's not up to par. The connection just doesn't make it, you know, and they're able to see the type of person you are and walk away from you. I think that these guys saw that same thing in this woman too, because when he asked her, like, hey, what's your walk with Christ? And she was like, yeah, you know, I just started getting back. I had stranded away and everything like that. That's fine. But when she says, yeah, I started doing going to church and doing online church with my friends. So right then and there, when I heard that, it went off to me that this woman is pretty much a follower. So she basically follows in trends and whatever is hot or whatever they think is the cool thing to do, she ends up doing it. And that's probably why she has a sleeve tattoo, which the gentleman said, you know, I have a conservative family, you know, and sleeve tattoos, that they'll ask me about that. And I don't really feel like trying to defend that, because I understand that what they instill in me is pretty much the same viewpoints I have with them. So I line up the same way. So that doesn't align with me. And then, like I say, a lot of these women go out here and do things and don't understand that sometimes you're doing things that will pretty much take you away from your husband. And I know a lot of women always say, well, that's not the guy for me. The guy for me is gonna love my tattoo regardless. And no, that's not how life works. Life don't work like that. Like, you can't tattoo your forehead and then go out there and say, oh, you know, my husband is gonna find me and he's gonna love me with my tattooed forehead. No, because the tattooed forehead is gonna get you away from a lot of great quality men, because logically, that doesn't make sense for a woman to get forehead tattoos like you're a thug or you're in the streets. That doesn't make sense. The low energy nigga you're gonna get is the one that's gonna attract it to that, and then you're gonna complain about him, and then you're gonna bash all the men and say, oh, men ain't shit. That's how the cycle keeps going on. Sometimes you put yourself in a bad situation not to receive the person you want to receive. So when they saw that, they was like, you're not walking in the light that you say that you want to walk in. And even if you're on the process of getting there, they can tell that that process is long. And these men are pretty much in their ages right now where they need a woman who is really, really in that walk of life. So just like the first guy had popped, the second guy asked that same question about your walk, and then he saw it was sketchy and he popped. So you end up leaving there with no possible match because of how you are as a person and your direction you're going. And not saying that you're a bad person, you're a good-looking woman, but you're just not there yet. Just like a lot of women don't want Build-A-Bears, there's a lot of guys that don't want Build-A-Bears either. And that comes in all different forms. And I land my plane on that.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is there's so much truth to it. I remember there's a girl I was dealing with who wanted to be serious. Like, we started off just kicking it, and you know, she was trying to pretend that she didn't want nothing. I could tell she wanted a relationship, but you know, for whatever reason, a lot of modern women like to try and be masculine. Oh, I don't really want that, you know, it's whatever. And then of course, you know, over time, she ended up being in a position, you know, where she wanted to be in a relationship. And for the most part, she had some things about her that were pretty solid. And I really thought about, you know, giving her a chance or whatever the case may be. But, you know, she had this tattoo on her lower back. And I don't think a lot of women really understand how many guys are turned off by tattoos. I just want to put that out there, first of all. Doesn't mean they won't holler at you. Doesn't mean they won't bang you, but they won't take you seriously. You know what I'm saying? And even if I were to map that over to my mom, you know what I'm saying? My mother told me pretty clearly she didn't want me bringing home no chick with no bunch of tattoos. You know, not that that's her decision, but you know, my mom don't really trip about a lot of stuff, but that's the one thing. You know, I used to date this girl who had multiple tattoos, and she nicknamed the girl Prison Break. My mom is real gangster when you know my mom, like she don't fuck around. You feel me? And it's like, dude, like, I mean, the girl just didn't stand a chance. You feel me? And
not Michelle Schofield. Oh, hell no.
Dude, I'm trying to tell you, you dig?
I'm not swallowing.
I'm not saying that a woman is necessarily a bad person or a bad woman because she has tattoos. What I am saying is sometimes we have to look at the type of people whose behavior we're mimicking. You understand what I'm saying? Who has what group of women have a lot of tattoos? Strippers, sex workers. You understand what I'm saying? Streetwalkers. Not to say that that's what you are. But ladies, when you go out here and you pattern how you position yourself after these groups that are not looked at in a desirable manner, you understand what I'm saying? Know that that is what you're doing. And unfortunately, people will perceive, fairly or unfairly, will perceive you in the way that they perceive the others that are known to have these type of markings. You understand what I'm saying? If you got a head full of turquoise and fuchsia weave and shit, and a mouth full of gold teeth, same thing, ladies. Same thing, fellas. You got teardrops tattooed on your face and your pants hanging off your ass, whatever the case may be, fairly or unfairly. You may be the smartest dude in the room. You understand? You may have all your shit together, whatever, but who comports themselves that way? Gangbangers. You understand what I'm saying? Lidney said the same thing. Some women are turned off with men tattoos. Yeah. If you got a whole bunch of tattoos, whatever the case may be, that may be a turnoff. Not necessarily because you're a bad person, but no, the group of people that have these similar markings to how you present yourself, there's a certain stigma associated with them, and that may rub off on you. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to know that going in. And, for men in particular, myself included, and I think all of us here, we find tattoos on women to be very masculine. A lot of y'all, don't really pay attention, or some of you are younger. You don't realize before Tupac came out, nobody fucking had tattoos. Nobody. Nobody had tattoos before Tupac came out. And Tupac came out, and all of a sudden, 2 summers later, everybody got to have a tattoo. You understand what I'm saying? Tupac was what? Very hyper masculine in the way he comported himself, the way he presented himself, and some of the other guys that came out after him and so forth. It's considered to be a very masculine thing. So if you're trying to be a feminine woman, tattoos might not be the thing that, like Summer Walker don't look feminine to me at all. You understand what I'm saying? Neither does Cardi B. I had a 2 tattoo maximum when I was dating. Maximum, and they had to be small. Then it's like, if it was anything more than that, nope, I'm good. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of people think that way, particularly when it comes to women. So, just letting that be known. And, the brother was spot on, especially if you're from a religious family. You had the one brother saying he's from a conservative family. The other brother got the t-shirt on that says Christ is Lord or something like that. Read the room. Shorty. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are some serious guys. And what's funny is, like we were saying earlier, a lot of women will say that they want these type of guys. Oh, I want a God-fearing man, and I want a man who, has his priorities in order, knows how to treat a lady. Well, that's something that you'll often find from a Christian man, but those men have rules. You understand? And you have to understand that, you can find all those wonderful things in them, but things are going to be required of you as well. And it may be more often than not, letting go of all these worldly hood rat things that a lot of women seem to embrace in 2024. You got women out here that are in their 50s talking about buying tickets to the Sexy Red concert. I'm just saying, and the Meg Thee Stallion concert. Like, what are we doing here? So it's a mentality thing, but facts, like you said, she's probably a follower. And that's very unattractive to any man when you start talking about vetting. You want your lady to have a mind of her own. And that pays great dividends down the road. You know, it really does, because she's not going to do things that other women will. You know, she's going to draw lines before it even gets to some bullshit. There's certain things, for instance, my wife won't even ask me. You know, well, her friend said this, that, and I'll find out months later. She knew, you don't even come to me and ask me that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of peace of mind that you want as a man, to know that there are certain things, because of your woman's integrity and because of her knowledge of who she is and how much she respects herself and you, there are just certain things that no matter what, she would not do or even think of. That's peace of mind.
Definitely.
Shout out to Chris Brown. And we'll leave it. I'm just saying. Them pictures, whose woman that has any self-respect is out there taking these pictures? I'm just saying. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Yeah,
Hey.
you're right.
Oh, now.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Is what it is. Yeah, no, definitely. That probably would have the one knock I would have put on the brother who made it all the way to the end with her, is I was annoyed that he didn't do what the brother before him did. You know, too many leading questions. One of the things that I definitely picked up from our beloved elder Neely Fuller Jr. is don't ask leading questions. Stop giving people answers or directing and steering them to where you want them to go. Unless you're a lawyer or unless you're doing that for the explicit purposes of trying to get them to answer a certain way. If you're just trying to find the truth, how this person genuinely feels that influence, you just ask the open-ended question with as little seasoning on as possible. It needs to be bland. Like cafeteria, like grade school cafeteria vegetables, bland, no flavor whatsoever, just cardboard. Like you can't taste with COVID or something. It needs to be bland. Just ask the question. Try to make it so that there's as little wiggle room as possible. Yes or no answers, or if they have to give an explanation with it, that it's not going to steer in any particular direction. I just want the truth. So do you think that you should do this way or that? No, just straight up ask the question. And so he's trying to lead her, give her examples. No, don't give her examples. If anything, let her ask for clarification, and then you can choose how to go ahead and, you know, give her whatever additional information she needs to be able to answer, again, in as unbiased a fashion as possible. But if you ask the question, ask the question. If you're going to answer for it, then why you ask the question in the first place? What's the point?
Sure.
Do you want the answer? Do you want your answer? Pick a struggle.
Yes.
But other than that, you know, good questions. And like you said, they were using discernment. They heard what she answered and they didn't like what she said for whatever reason. Not that they were against her. I didn't feel any sort of pettiness or malice. And I'm hoping that he gave an explanation as to why he popped the balloon. I'm sure he did, but it kind of cut off. But it would have been great to hear his thought process as to why he did it. And I suspect he did it because, based off of what he heard, he didn't think that she was probably in the place where he needed her to be for their relationship to be what he wanted it to be. Not saying that she had to be perfect, but again, like you pointed out, everybody doesn't want a builder such and such. Or perhaps she wasn't far enough along on the journey. Because basically, for what she was saying, she basically said, I'm brand new. You know, I started out before, there was no indication of how far along she was on the path. But basically, she said, she basically in so many words said, I just picked this thing up again the other day. You know, I just started going back to church, I started Bible study. And again, no knock against her. I hope that she doesn't take that as a slight against her. But just simply saying he might be at a specific level or feels that he's at a level where dating somebody who's at a lower level or below a certain minimum that I have is going to set me back, or there might be too much conflict. Maybe he's tried dating someone who was at that level before and had a horrible experience, what have you. Whatever the case may be, it is what it is. As far as the tattoo and everything else goes, y'all got into that pretty thoroughly. Everything ain't for everybody. Now, I wouldn't necessarily knock that against her as being a Christian because, the reality is things happen. She got that maybe before she went out to the service or while she's in the service. She got out and her mindset has changed. The tattoo is indicative of her in a different state of mind. She's no longer there at this point in time. That happens. I mean, it is what it is. Should that necessarily be a knock against them? I wouldn't say so. Now, if you have a state like with the first brother where you say, I come from a conservative family, this is a big no-no, what have you, then unfortunately at that point, it doesn't matter if you've grown since then. The reminder is the reminder. If she's a sister who's very sincere, if she's more on the conservative wavelength, if she's looking also for a man who's more conservative, it probably would be in her best interest to seriously look into going ahead and getting laser tattoo removal. That might be something that she wants to do. And let me preface that with saying that's a decision that she should be making for herself first and foremost. She should not be going to get that tattoo removed so she can attract men. She shouldn't be doing it because she wants to be with this particular man and this is the only obstacle. No. It should be done because she no longer wants the honor. She no longer likes the tattoo, or she feels that this no longer represents her, that this is a physical reminder of where she used to be, and her getting that removed is a sign to herself and a step forward saying, I've completely divorced myself from that. That's what she should do for her. I am heavily against making changes for other people. All the way against it. Because, especially if it's in a relationship, because typically those never turn out well. It's rare for you to get a situation where that happens and it turns out well, because what tends to happen is, if this was a decision they made for somebody else, they wouldn't have made it on their own. There tends to be a little bit of resentment behind that. Sense of, I did this for you. Don't let there be an argument. Y'all go back and forth. Well, I did this for you, and you don't appreciate it. I never asked you to get it. Well, maybe I should get. There's a whole thing that tends to come behind that, and the spirit that comes with that, or where there's a debt in your mind where they owe you this because I made the sacrifice for them. I did. Don't do it. And then, of course, if y'all happen to separate and go your separate ways, they go right back to doing the very same thing that they stopped doing before because the only roadblock was the person. If you're going to change, lasting change, meaningful change, significant change has to come from within. If the motivation is external, odds are strongly against it lasting.
Yes.
It can. It happens. But typically those are in severe circumstances. People, maybe they need to make a lifestyle change. It's an addiction. They need to break for their kids, their family. There's an intervention stage. That type of thing. It's different. But if it's anything short of catastrophic, don't do it to yourself first and foremost. Don't put that on them. Just take yourself out, make the necessary changes that you want for yourself, and then see what's happening. Because there are some people who, again, they might be willing, and you don't want to bank on this. Again, you don't want to encourage you making bad decisions and then having this fairy tale mentality where the right person will come in and hit me and then we should meet. We're not doing that goofy nonsense. It's not a license to kill. But again, if you don't want to maybe you can't afford the removal, or maybe you don't want to go through all the extra pain or whatever, or maybe you're satisfied with just mentally being away from that, there are some people who might be interested in hearing your story. And they might take that into consideration. And if everything, major caveat, and I'm gonna part the Aston, if everything else is on point, and this is really the one hiccup, dang, she'd be a perfect 10 if it wasn't for da-da-da-da-da, or man, girl, he would be a 10 he'd be an 11 out of 10 if it wasn't for da-da-da-da-da. If you've done all the other work, and this is the one hiccup, for a lot of even staunch persons, an exception can be made. But you can't have this, and then you drop the ball in all those other areas, and, well, the right person got to love me for me. There's got to be some padding there. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where it is.
All facts.
Well
and let me just make this real quick point, because it's interesting. You should tie that in. I lost my train of thought, but that is how the other situation ended. The girl I was dealing with, she had this tattoo on her lower back. First of all, that's just the kiss of death right there. But okay, she was like, I'm willing to remove it for you. And I told her basically the same thing that you said. If you want to remove it, don't do it because of me. You know what I'm saying? Do it because of you. And then she went into the thing where, she wanted to remove it anyway. She was someone else at the time when she got it done. And, it got very mental, which was very interesting. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how that ended. And I wanted to say this more than anything else. Fellas, when you're popping your balloons and you're telling these women that you're not interested, please stop with this, but you're so beautiful bullshit. Dude, you niggas can't, I can't tell where your head ends and these women's asses begin sometimes. Nigga, stop brown nosing. Just tell the fucking truth. My God, this shit makes my head explode. Like, dude, that shit ain't necessary.
Nino Brown is business, not the personal.
Dude, I'm not interested. Oh, but you're so beautiful. Oh my God, but you're such a beautiful nigga. Just keep it moving. I just had to say that. That shit irks me to no end.
Yeah, real rap.
I noticed that on the Pop the Balloon that men and women do that a lot.
Oh my God.
Deep down inside, they're not what you say they are. You're just trying to pacify yourself as this, cool, humane person with a good heart, because you're trying to actually get followers, because they do leave y'all Instagram there. So you don't want to be like the hardcore turtle guy that they had up there who's telling motherfuckers how it is. And anytime you have any guy that goes up there and does that, they call him sassy, or in the comments, so they chase him down and saying, oh, he's not even all that.
Nigga.
So I think people are playing
so much gray area. Why can't we live there?
Yeah, StopBrownNosing.com.
Yeah, they're playing the game in order to get the following.
Fuck all that. No.
The good graces of people. I'm not gonna be that. I'm not gonna sacrifice. I'm gonna tell you exactly how it is, and that's how it's gonna be. Because when you do that, you're giving people false hope. Just give people the real deal, because it ends up being better. And that's what we talked about before, how we had like a lot of people that's out here giving advice, and they're not giving the right advice to these people, and you kind of pacifying them, and you're setting them up for failure. And that's why a lot of people follow us, because we don't pacify people. We tell you exactly what you need to hear, and you either take accountability and tighten up, or just know that some of the things that you're doing, you're in the right, you're on the right path, even though it might not seem that way, because it's easy for you to get a lot more play by lying and pandering, but that is a short-filled journey. In the long run, you just be real with people, tell it how it is, and trust me, in the long run, they're going to respect you 24/7 and know that you stand on business and a person that they could come to get real advice that's going to help them in the long run.
Facts.
All right?
Wipe the shit off your nose. Go ahead, Ant.
Exactly. So I definitely want to get into this next video talking about pandering, right? So
great segue.
Yes. So we're talking about pandering, and I definitely wanted to get into this next video. So as you guys know, there's a guy by the name of Yada that this guy's been out for a long time. He was telling women he was telling women what to do. He was telling them that, y'all shouldn't be wearing pads, you should be wearing rags, and, this whole super woke conscious level he was on, but it was not generating the money that he wanted to see. So now he starts pandering, and now he's getting a lot of support from the women that he's getting out there. And then there's one guy ends up checking him, and I think he did a thorough job. And we'll just watch this video real quick.
That he can't answer for you because the only thing he talks about is pandering. I'm talking about context. I'm talking about substance. I'm talking about spirituality. I'm talking about praying together. I'm talking about building. You're supposed to get married when you're young because it prevents you from sinning and finding yourself with all of these bodies and these soul ties that ultimately carry with you for the rest of your life. And then you start to see every single man and you can't take it out of your memory with the person that you wind up being with. Most women have skipped over the man that they're supposed to be with because they didn't have the guidance, because they didn't have the spirituality. They don't know the word of God. And so it's easy to just say, oh yeah, just provide 100%. What happens when life happens and you 22, 23, 24 years old and you get married? The economy messed everybody up. Everybody that thought that they had it, guess what? You got a plan and then God has a plan. What happened to the character? Why you don't talk about character?
Hold on, and Anton,
why he don't? No, hold on. Why he don't talk about character? Because when I teach my daughter, I'm a reflection of the man that I would want my daughter to marry. I don't tell my daughter to go and look for a guy to provide for her. I tell my daughter to go and look for a guy that's believing in God, that has good character, that actually worships and looks for and focuses on his purpose because everything else falls in line. The money is going to come. We so busy chasing money. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. You don't have to chase money. You don't have to look to women to provide for them, because if you're naturally that, if you're raised up in the admonition of your father, which is what God has ordained for you to do, you don't have to worry about that. That's naturally in you. And so, yes, absolutely, she should be purposeful. And her purpose at that time could be raising the children, depending on if y'all got children. Her purpose at that time could be out there and bringing in resources because she's learning a new skill that can then translate into the company that y'all build together. It's a lot of nuance and a lot of context, but I hate it when people pander to women because they leading y'all astray. And it sounds like I'm a harsh father. It sounds like it's a difficult situation. It sounds like you're just supposed to be given everything. But if that's the case, then why are we as a society, why are we as a people, as black people in particular, so far behind, and we further behind than we ever been, even though we the freest and we have the opportunity to choose for ourselves? This isn't God. Ain't none of this what he talking about God right now. And
All right, so I want to hold up. I want to add another video too, because remember, this is Yada, who said that a real man would give a woman $50,000 before he gets married to her, because he gave his wife, well, at the time, his fiance, $50,000 before he got married to her. And he says that's a thing that every real man should do. And if you ain't got the money to do that, then you ain't a real man. And here's another guy who took his advice. And let's see how that worked out for him.
It's a birthday.
But he don't even know it, but he just ruined the rest of his life. God damn, look at this thing. Look at this thing. He knows it's a bad decision. Why are you doing this, bro? Yeah, exactly. See how she's doing? Oh shit.
My God. Ooh, what? Friend! I'm so sorry. I said so quick. She took the money.
Well,
was that 100,000 or?
Woo! First of all, oh man, Ooh. Where do I begin? Because there's so much to unpack here. I'm gonna keep this real brief. I know we got time constraints. I could go all day talking about this character, Yada Awakening. He's a fucking clown. He is probably the biggest fraud since Derek Jackson. And the fact that he has hundreds of thousands of women following him that subscribe to him and give him money and listen to his bullshit speaks volumes about the mental preparedness of a lot of modern women when it comes to relationships. You know, they love to hear these con men talk this goofy shit that provably doesn't work. You understand what I'm saying? And then they wonder why they do so poorly with real men in real life. Nobody should be listening to a goof troop like fucking Yada Awakening. If you're listening to him, any woman that listens to him or Derek Jackson seriously, if you are a man, you're supposed to know that that is not a woman that you even bother with going on a first date with. Period. Just because she's telling you before you even talk to her that she's barren in here. She doesn't have anything between her ears. She's a moron. You understand what I'm saying? And you know, you just can't take people like that seriously. These are con men that just have made a career off of pandering to weak-minded women. You know, and that's just what it is. That first clip would have been gold because dude was serving. He was going at Yada Awakening and hitting on some real points. And he was addressing some of his pandering to women. Would have been great if it wasn't coming from Anton Daniels, who's another fuck nigga, and he panders to white supremacists. So fuck him and the horse he came in on. Nobody should be listening to that nigga for any reason. You understand what I'm saying? That nigga is a coon's coon. That nigga sat up here and came out talking about how black people don't need no reparations, and he hopes that the white people who enslaved us get reparations. That's who that fuck nigga is. Just so you know.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So no, I can't take anything he says seriously because he caters to white supremacists when you talk about pandering. See, a lot of these niggas, they have their different little niches. You understand? And that's why it's a little more difficult for us to break ground because we don't have a gimmick. We just get a shit to you raw, straight, no chasing. We tell the fucking truth. Hoe ass niggas like Anton Daniels, hoe ass niggas like Anton Daniels, they pander to white supremacists, and hoe ass niggas like what's that other clown, Yada Awakening, they pander to weak-minded women. You understand what I'm saying? We don't do either of the two. You understand? So I just wanted to put that bug out there. Yeah, he talks a good game when he's talking about people who are pandering to women. But when you search his record and his paperwork, Anton Daniels is one of the biggest new coons in the game. He can give Larry Elder a run for his money. That's how much of a coon that nigga is.
Good Lord.
Yeah. He can give Larry Elder a run for his money. He is a coon's coon. He is a Sambo and a disgrace to black men. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'll park the Chevy.
Oh, that's good information. You know what I'm saying? And I find it funny how somebody who panders to white folks and white supremacy will be so adamant and so because he has so much vitriol as if he was walking such a great tightrope, and he was basically trying to throw this man Yada in the fire.
Let me also add real quickly. Also, even before I found out how much of a coon he was, Anton Daniels, because you know he's one of those people. He'll give you enough real shit where this nigga sound like he knows what he's talking about. So I listened to him on a few videos. I'm like, okay, this dude, he sounds pretty good, and I subscribe to it. And then one day he started talking the same shit that Mr. Lucario and that other fuck nigga with the bald head that you don't like. What's his name? Mr. Let Go.
Oh yeah.
He started talking the same bullshit that they talk about how women are really children. Women are really childish and they're not able to think for themselves. And he starts talking all this misandrous bullshit. And then you realize, okay, this is another waterhead, mongoloid, incel fuck nigga. You understand what I'm saying? And then I found out later after that he was also a Sambo. I mean, this nigga is just a walking red flag. Just a fat pack of shit with no game to give anybody.
Yeah.
I'll park the Chevy.
Park it over to you. Throw the keys to you, Drake.
Oh man. That clip right there should be framed in Buddy's highlight reel because that would definitely be the definition of a broken clock moment. Because everything he said in that clip was, well,
spot on, right?
Minus the I am the man that, well, actually, no, that was spot on too, because in his mind, I'm pretty sure that he is that. He is that. He would like to see his daughter get with a man that's similar to him. Sambo, buck dancing, and all. Okay, yeah. But he was all the way on point about that and what he said in addressing Yada. But like you said, this could easily flip-flop the other way around if we're talking about pandering to white supremacy, in which case he would be in Yada's very small baby Jordan size shoes. So, the whole thing is pandering needs to die, plain and simple. We talked about before about knowing who to take your information from and who to get your game from, and the horrendous potential drawbacks of taking bad advice and listening to incorrect sources. You need to be, in this world more than ever, you need to be getting your insights from reasonable, logical, sound sources. All right. Now, this particular information that they're talking about when it comes to dealing with women and such might not be anything lethal where you're gonna die, or you're gonna drive off the side of a cliff or something, or you're gonna fail in your duties at work or that kind of thing. But it can still be pretty catastrophic to you, mostly when you're out here trying to make real emotional deposits into people and into your love life, and you're getting back horrendous results as a result of it. We got a lot of people right now that have done the work, or trying to do the work, or haven't yet done the work, but they need to be on the shelf recovering because they've taken some nasty losses from this thing called relationships. And not all of it, but some of it, especially nowadays, is a result of listening to horrendous advice. Case in point, the brother that tried to go ahead and basically trick off on this chick with 100 racks, and she said, "You can keep the love, I'll take the bag, please, thanks." I also had to catch my breath for a second because she looked like someone I knew many years ago. I was like, please, dear God, I hope she ain't on that level. But she's the sister that I know is very thorough, very solid, amazing woman all around. The woman I knew wouldn't have been caught dead in that situation, getting down like that. And I see that wasn't her, thank God. But nah, man. That right there is why you can't listen to that game. And he'll turn around, eyes all bloodshot and red, snot running down his nose. But Yana said I should give him money if I was a real man, and I'm a real nigga. I gave you that back. Look at you. Clean yourself off. You're getting boogers all over the rug. Shame on you. That's just what it is. When you listen to piss poor advice, you're going to get piss poor results. I don't know how you could possibly do anything else. There's no world, there's no reality we live in where you can put a nice glob of feces on bread, add some rotten eggs and some expired mayonnaise, put it together, and you're going to have yourself a 3 Michelin star world-class sandwich. It's not going to happen. So you can only have a shit sandwich. That's all you can have. The ingredients are the ingredients. We don't live in a world of magic where you can go ahead and put all kind of foul stuff in a pot. You get something delightful out of it. That's not reality. So therefore, if you want to have the optimum results and outcome from your endeavors and your engagements in life, you have to start with proper ingredients from proper foundations. And first and foremost, that is not listening to snake oil salesmen, swindlers, and charlatans and frauds like Baby Yada, Anton Daniels, Derek Waxon, and the rest of the Goof Troop Panda Rangers. Say no to the mighty Morphin Panda Rangers. Just say no.
Yeah.
Facts. Definitely. I did want to show a video of Dr. Umar. Right. I want you guys to tell me what you guys think about it, because it's very interesting what he said. All right, so I'll play this right here.
Snow Bunny and the African Queen. is the snow bunny will find a black man in progress. She will find him on the job. She will find him on the university. And that snow bunny will see a black man with potential, and she will invest in him. She will help him level up. And then when the sister see him 5 years ago, 5 years later, he's a millionaire. And the sister say, look at that sellout. He went and got a white girl. But guess what? When he was looking for a sister to help him level up, to invest in him, none of them wanted it. You know why? Too many black women want a finished product. Black women have to, stay with me. Black women have to stop expecting men to be a finished product. It's harder on us. Help him level up. Stay with me. Help him level up and become what you need him to be. Because the big reason why these snow bunnies are running off with black men is they're meeting them when they have nothing, but they believe in their vision. And black women are waiting for him to cross the finish line. And by the time he crosses the finish line, the snow bunny then snatch.
Hey man, hey dog. Listen,
let me
I'm gonna keep it
this.
a buck. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add one more video in it. I think this video is pretty powerful as well. I just want to add the two in because I know we're short on time, and then you can comment on both. All right.
There are a lot of people that don't know the difference between a red flag and a weakness. Not everything that you don't like about somebody is a red flag. If I meet you and I say, listen, baby, when I get upset or something bothers me, I tend to shut down. I don't talk much. And that's with everybody, including you. But I'm working on it. That's not a red flag. If you call something out that I'm doing, and despite some resistance, I come to a place eventually where I'm like, you know what? That wasn't my intention. My bad. I'll work on that. That's not a red flag. That's a weakness that I'm acknowledging. And I'm reassuring you that, yeah, this is a problem, but it will improve. But a red flag is if I know how problematic something is, and I'll go to any extreme measure to protect or deflect from what I don't want to address. And I find every way possible to make you the bad guy for calling me out. That's a red flag. The red flag isn't us having weaknesses. We all have those. The red flag comes from us being comfortable in our weakness and protecting that weakness by gaslighting, misdirection, or attempting to make you feel crazy about calling out something just because I don't want to acknowledge it or change my ways. So listen, stop confusing that with weaknesses. They're two different things, two very different things.
There you go. You chop up both.
Shut your mouth and keep on talking.
Man, look, hold up. Okay. I gotta address some of the things that have been stated. I gotta address some of the bullshit that's been put out, and I gotta address some of the real shit too, right? So in the Umar clip, he makes a solid point. Yeah, a lot of sisters expect a dude to be the fucking sun, moon, and stars when they meet him. And they don't know how to exercise patience and, you know, give brothers some time to develop into all that they can be. Especially when a lot of the times women come into those situations as a work in progress themselves. You understand what I'm saying? More often than not, I've had so many women that I've been with criticize me for not being far ahead enough in life, in their opinion, because I hadn't finished school at the time. But I was making more money than them and everybody else they knew. You understand what I'm saying? Just because of the fact that I didn't have a degree at the time. You know, they criticized me. They talked down on me. Oh, you know, you should be doing this. You should be doing that. And as you said, later on, they came back and they were on their best behavior because they saw, you know, that I was 10 times the man that some of the dudes that they were dealing with. I just didn't have the degree or the education. A lot of times people don't even look at the totality of what it is that you have. I've always had my own place. I've always had a clean ride. I've always had nice clothes, presented myself well. I've always been in shape. I've always been gainfully employed. I've always been very intelligent, even before I had my formal education. But because women are taught to look at whether or not you have a degree as something that should be a yay or nay as to whether or not you're worthy of their time, because you should of course feel privileged to be in their presence a lot of the time. You know, that's what a lot of women are on. And you got to check all that shit at the door. He does make a valid point. However, I will say there is nothing wrong with being desirous of a person who is a finished product. Nothing wrong with that either. I think a lot of it has to do with the point at life that you are in and the point at life that they are in. If you're looking at a man who's in his 40s and he's still, you know, kind of going from job to job trying to figure it out, well, yeah, that I'm sorry, the woman has a valid point. Nigga, you should have figured it out by now. I would say for a man, to me, I mean, you know, this is the kind of restrictions I put on myself and the type of parameters I put on myself. By my late 20s, I needed to be financially stable and know where I wanted to go with my life, period. And I was there. I think that by 30, it's fair. You know, as a man, you should kind of have a clue, nigga. You know, you got niggas running around here 45 years old talking about they releasing their mixtape and they gonna be the next hot rapper. I'm sorry, yeah, that's a real concern. But at the same time, it's real shit. I know niggas like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference if you have a habit or you have a hobby or you have something that you love to do. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what you do versus your entire life is consumed by this. This is your profession and it ain't making no goddamn money. This don't make no sense. And you got too many niggas out here that's on that shit. So yeah, the women have a point and Umar has a point. I would caution sisters, when you meet a new guy and you know something doesn't look right or whatever the case may be, talk to him about what his future plans are. Communicate that shit. You know, my wife, to her credit, you know, when I met her, we sat down, we had conversations. I loved the questions that she asked me. Oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see us in the next 24 months? Where do you see? How do you see? What's your plan? Where do you want to be in X amount of time? That way she knows she ain't fucking with no bum. That's fair. The women don't want to be sitting around here. I get it. It's a dichotomy that we have to understand as men. Yes, she wants to believe in you. She wants to believe in your vision. She wants to support you with everything she has. However, she don't want to be with no random spoons ass nigga. And that's fair. Because at the end of the day, if it is incumbent upon you to lead and her to follow your lead, well, nigga, you got to have somewhere to lead her to. You need to have a plan. It makes sense. So while I do agree with Umar that the sisters could be a bit more patient, I also agree that the sisters have a valid point in being sure when they meet a brother that a brother has a plan and he is going somewhere, because you got some niggas who will just meander into oblivion and you look up 15 years from now and y'all still got a 1-bedroom apartment in a bad neighborhood with a lot of crime. No. So that's what I say about the Umar clip. As far as the red flags versus weaknesses clip, that nigga don't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know the difference himself. And I think that he has a valid point when he talks about having comfort in weakness being a red flag, that you can have a weakness and that may be okay to a certain extent, but the comfort in that weakness is the actual red flag. Solid point. However, depending on that weakness, the weakness could also be a red flag, nigga. Let's stop that bullshit. If your weakness is that you're abusive and you fly off the handle and you hit bitches when you get mad, nigga, that's a red flag. Okay? Let's not bullshit and pretend that, you know, just because you have a weak, that is some of the most ridiculous bullshit I've ever heard. basically he's saying, I get what he's trying to say, but he's saying that a weakness can't be a red flag. That's bullshit, because there are some weaknesses that are very profound and pronounced and can be extraordinarily harmful to someone else. You understand? And those are bright red glaring flags that you should act on as soon as you see that that's what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So I respect the sentiment of his point, but he didn't know how to make his point. And this is why we got to stop with all these little so-called relationship guru niggas running around that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You understand? Because he had something, you know, and I think that at the core of what he's trying to say, there is something very valid. I would say that you can have weaknesses that aren't necessarily deal breakers, or that don't necessarily have to be deal breakers. And if it is a weakness that you can work on with someone, you know, then that can be something that, you know, you guys can work together towards, you know, finding resolution to. I think that's a much smarter way to approach that. But I think number 1, 2, and 3 is, it's not your call, nigga, to tell anybody what is not a red flag to them. That's not on you. You can't make that call because every person is different. So I think he was trying to be deep and profound, but he ended up saying a lot of bullshit. I'll park the Chevy.
Definitely. Drake, it's on you.
All right, waiting for them to bring my bait. Okay, yeah, I just have them take a little wash right quick. You know, just had to keep that thing looking crispy. Okay, we got it back again. I'm gonna go backwards and tackle the last video just so I can kind of like do the kid and play with some of Major's points. I feel like we kind of got different vibes from that video. I agree with a lot of what you said, but I feel like we got a different tone out of it. I, for the most part, was in alignment with what he said, and I'm not sure if it was because I'm not sure if I missed certain words that he said or not. Because you mentioned something about him saying about being comfortable with certain weaknesses or what have you, and I don't recall hearing that. So it's possible that I missed some things that would have probably had me singing the same way you did. But overall, from what I did pick up, I actually liked the video a lot, and I thought he made some very significant points. And I do sort of see, in hindsight, I do kind of see the nexus between this video and the Umar video, and now that's going to kind of become clear when I break down the other one. But for the most part, I agree with what he said. We have to make sure that understand that first and foremost, none of us are perfect. Every single person, doesn't matter how lean, mean, pristine, glossy, fresh, and clean a person may look, even if they got the little throwback black ice Christmas tree air freshener hanging off their ear or whatever. Doesn't matter how clean they may look, how good they may smell. Everybody has weaknesses. There are shortcomings in all of us. That's how we're designed. So with that in mind, we have to have an idea of that and already come pregame with, what am I willing to bargain on? What am I willing to compromise with? Because the same way how you need to ask that question, other people need to be asked that question about you. So it's very easy to say, I want perfection. However, when people come looking at you, you don't want them to look at your imperfections and to go ahead and, you know, judge that harshly. So we need to make sure that we're equally as giving of the grace that we want to receive from others. That's first and foremost. With that being said, I like how he presented and how the example he used as well too. First and foremost, I think probably the best, if you're gonna, I think the issue that you may have had was he might have come off as a bit broad with what he said, which can be dangerous because there is a good bit of nuance involved there. That's not a one size fits all kind of thing to put out there. I think it's very important, but it's not one size fits all. If we were going to be broad with how we're going to label that, I would say that a red flag is ultimately what he mentioned: denial, gaslighting, sign language, you're throwing up shame, insults, guilt, need to be right. Pretty much the chick from the first video who's beefing with the entrepreneur brother. If something's being presented to you, or you're presenting something and you have a very rebellious attitude about it. Yeah, this is what it is, and this is the way I am. You either love me for me, or take it or leave it. That's a red flag. Go ahead and burn rubber, peeling that 180 the other direction. A person, however, who's being transparent, they're being forthcoming, they're taking accountability. Yeah, I have an issue with this, but I'm working on it. Action steps, not, well, this is the problem that I have. That's just saying I have the problem. That's just the caution light. That's not a green or a red flag. That's a caution flag saying, but I'm working on, no, I'm taking steps. I'm in therapy, or, I've done a lot of work, X, Y, Z, or I have some accountability partners, that type of thing. That's a green flag. You're not ambushing somebody. You're presenting them with your current situation. You're giving them a choice, an option on how to deal with it. And you're also letting them know, I am taking steps to make this a strength, or to work on this, at least to not make it a weakness anymore. That is good. Especially in this climate that we're in currently, where it seems like accountability is a swear word and the most profane language known to man in some cases. People accepting accountability is a good thing. Now, like you said, some things, even that's not enough. Or like you said, if you're an abuser, yeah, when I get mad, I slap women in the face and I drag them by the hair down the street, but I'm working on in therapy. That's all well and good. And you know what? I think that there's redemption for that person. But you got a lot of work to do. That needs to be a lot further back in the rearview mirror than some other things. Some things, you could have just, went over the speed bump and it's okay. We can make peace with that. Some things that needs to be left over like a whole time zone behind you. In some cases, that might need to be on a different hemisphere. You need to have some significant distance between you and that issue. So that's not a catch-all, but for the most part, if they're accepting accountability for it, they're being forthcoming, they're transparent, they're asking you to hold them accountable, to bring to attention, that's a green flag. You want that. And you want them to do the same for you. The red flags, however, those are things that people are not refusing to budge on. They don't want you to touch it. It's a very sort of, middle finger attitude. That's a done deal. Real quick, as far as what Umar said, there is some truth to that. And what I would say, because you hammered a lot of what I was going to say on that, Major. I would say that what it is that white women tend to be better at what I would call talent scouting. And I use that because the excellent example of that would be the athletes that you see in college, what have you. As soon as there's a young, promising candidate, they're out there scouting. They already know all the metrics. And if you ever heard some of these gold diggers speak, I don't care how big a sports fan you think you are. I don't care how good a football fan you are, how good a basketball fan you are, et cetera, et cetera. Those women, they could damn near be the general manager. They could almost be the head coach right there. They could tell you stats. They know figures. They know the plays. They know everything there is to know about that. And as a result, they're able to effectively judge who is likely to be a stud and who's going to be a dud. They are very good at being able to judge talent and figure out, okay, you need about maybe 3 more mango seasons. All right, I can work with that. And they go ahead and make their investment. And they have no issues with going ahead and throwing the lot behind them. They'll go ahead and pony up some resources if necessary. They'll broker connections with people and do networking. They're very good at that. Unfortunately, Black women, and this is tough love coming. Know how I feel about y'all. This is tough love. Black women are not good at all with talent scouting. Black women collectively are not good at vetting men. And there's a fair amount of blame to go all the way around. There's blame with the women folk. There's also blame with the men. So this isn't a dumping on the women thing. This is an addressing the weaknesses. Let's take a look at the weaknesses. Let's break this down so we can make some action steps. What happens is too many times Black women do not know what to look for in vetting a proper candidate for a mate. And they will go ahead and they will invest. They'll do the same thing that Becky and Sue Ann do, but they'll do it for the wrong dude. And there's some women who have genuine stories, not no BS, but real stories about how they went ahead and they cast a lot behind this person. They bet the farm on this pony, and the pony never even made out the damn starting gate, much less got in the race. And after that happens enough time, as is reasonable, they get burnt out. They don't want to do it anymore. They still have PTSD from the last bad investment, and now I'm not doing it anymore. I want the finished product. It's understandable. The issue with that is a refusal to accept what that comes with, because everything is a choice. And we spoke about this before as well, too. When it comes to making an investment, where you invest is going to determine how much you have to invest. I love to use an example of an event, of a concert. When you go on Eventbrite or when you look at Ticketmaster or someplace or whatever, you have your early bird tickets. Early bird tickets going to run you $15. And you got to pay for the event about 6 months in advance. If you pay 6 months in advance, you only have to pay $15 for the ticket. You wait a little longer, about 2 months out from the event. Early bird tickets are done. Now you have regular admission. No perks and bonuses. It was $15 before. Now you got to pay $45 to get into the show. Still not it's not the lowest amount, but it's okay, $45. Now, if that's not good enough, if you wait till the event itself, you get to the door, now it takes us $120. You cannot come to the event the day of complaining about the $120 ticket price when you had the option to pay $15 earlier. A little later, you even had the option to still pay $45. If you want to wait for the day of, that's fine. But understand, the cost of admission is going to be higher, as it should be.
Yeah.
You cannot pull up to the door day of, back of the line, and then get mad that you're not paying $15 like the other people who got the early bird tickets. You can't do it. You have to pick a struggle.
Well said.
All right? So the question is, what do we do with this? Glad you asked. You need to learn how to properly vet men. And this is the difference between these cats like Anton and Yada. They will just simply tell you the end result. Vet better, choose better. Any idiot can do that. How do I get there? If I knew the answer, I wouldn't be asking you. If I had the roadmap, I wouldn't ask you how to get to such and such. I can see I only got 3.6 miles to go. I wouldn't need you. So how do we do this? First and foremost, the man needs to have a plan. He needs to have a plan, and it can't be some vague pie in the sky thing. Man, you know, I just got to drop my mixtape, dog. Once I drop my mixtape, man, I'm the next to blow, man. You know, if you like Kendrick, man, if you like J. Cole, dog, if you like Pedo God Aubrey, man, you'll love me, man. My style is amazing, bro. That's not a plan. That's a pipe dream. Emphasis on the pipe. Emphasis on the pipe.
Emphasis on the pipe.
Man needs to have a detailed, laid out plan, because the plan has to have action steps, organization. And not only does he have action steps, but he should also have already taken steps on this path. He shouldn't be coming to you when you ask about his game plan, and this is the first time he breaks out his plan with the action steps, because if he's just giving it to you for the first time, that means he's on step 0. He ain't did the damn thing. He should already be on the way to making his dreams, his plans a reality and bringing it to fruition. If he can't point to, well, maybe this is a 10-step plan, I'm on step 4, I'm on step 6, I'm on step 8, I'm on step 5. If he can't do that, he bull jiving. Because this isn't about you. This isn't an audition for you. He doesn't care about you, because if this is his plan, with or without you, he's going to make this pop off, because the plan is not about you. It's about him and what he's trying to get accomplished. So he's going to already be in motion. He may have suffered a setback or two, but he's still on the plan. He's revising. This is his baby. This is prototype. He's serious about this. Based on where he is in the plan, you can start making your decisions. All right, let's see. This is the goal. It's going to take a while to get there. I don't know if I can hedge in that late, or maybe it's further along and you still willing to accept me. I'm willing to go ahead and do this. But you need to find out where he is in the plan. He needs to be upfront about it. If he's being secretive, if he's trying to, cuff details about where he is in the plan, that's a red flag right there. Because if you're making steps, I mean, that should be readily available. Why are you cuffing the details? So you need to see if he's actually making good on it. You have two types of energy, potential and kinetic. Potential energy is energy that's just stored up. So if you got a ball sitting on a hill, that's potential energy. It ain't doing nothing. It's got potential. It has potential to roll. It has potential to move, but it ain't doing nothing. It's just sitting right there. Once the ball is moving, now it's kinetic energy. The energy is in motion. You need to be looking for a man who's got some kinetic energy. There's all kind of dudes out there that got potential. They got good game. They got a tight mouthpiece. They can con you and talk you and say, yeah, baby, man, you know, I just need this and this to fall through, man. You know what I'm saying? But don't worry, once it comes to baby, I got you. I'm a lacy. All the sweet talk, they got that. But ain't no footwork. Keep your eyes on the men that got some footwork. That's getting some small, tangible ones. It might not be anything big now, but they're starting to show some fruit. You're starting to see some buds on the tree. Those are the men that you can start vetting. And again, it's not a given. That's something else we have to be honest about. Even if he's doing everything right, it can still fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
That is the risk. Every investment comes with risk. We're not saying that by properly vetting, you're going to hit out the park every single time, but we're saying that with proper vetting, you can eliminate a lot of unnecessary risk. Would you rather take a 50% chance of success or 85% chance of success?
Common sense.
Which one would you take? So once you learn how to properly vet, once you learn what to look for, you'll be more inclined to go ahead and saddle yourself to the 85%ers, the 75%ers, the 68%ers. And you'll spend less time with the 25%ers and the 33%ers, the ones that they're not going nowhere or the plan is doomed to fail because they failed to plan.
Well said. And just to add in real quick, I know we got to go quick, but I got to throw this in there. The guy needs to be stable at the point of contact or somewhat stable. Stability. Does he have his own place? Does he have his own transportation? The basic necessities of life. Does he have a savings? These are important things. And I'll leave it there. Go ahead, and close this up.
Yeah, man. We are. You guys said some great things for the night, man. We're chopping it up with the family. It's not our regular show, so I don't have a crown check for you guys tonight. Just wanted to chop it up with the family, get some of these videos off the chest, and just give you guys some great game and great dialogue, and let you guys hear the correct narrative and not the one that just blows in the wind that everybody just hears about and ignores it or either goes with it. So I hope the videos that we had, the topics we had, clarified everything. And, you know, going into the holiday season and going into 2025 with a great head on your shoulder, great game in your bag to help you achieve what you need to achieve in 2025. All right. So with that being said, we're going to close out. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. All right.
Yeah.
Peace.
All right.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there, you gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Position make you rich? I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter, make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best interest.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we must stand together and be counted because people look to us for guidance, leadership, and protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job. Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose. Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage, we are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestations.